dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 da.
What makes the world go round? Is it love? Or power? Or money? I say sex. As you've heard all these speakers, it's like sex, 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 sex. Because sex is powerful, okay? And looking at everyone in this room, it's like sex is accessible. Because we all, at least most of us, are naturally inclined to it. At least we're all naturally built for it. The Sunday Times best-selling author, a British woman by the name of Amia Srinivasan, who's a professor at Oxford, she wrote a book called The Right to Sex. She defines it. She says sex is who we are and what we do. And it's meant to be pleasurable. And I would say to a large extent, most of the time it is. But oftentimes it can go wrong. And when it goes wrong, it means it's unpleasant or uncomfortable for one or many of the partners involved. Leading organizations like the United Nations are saying that more and more increasingly, when it goes wrong, there are negative consequences, and mostly for the female gender in our society. So we're talking women and girls. And what they also are saying, organizations like the World Health Organization, UNAIDS, UNFPA, they say that when sex goes wrong, it leads to things like sexual transmitted infections that are leading to many deaths. So sex has a dark side. So we're talking STIs, that's sexually transmitted infections like HIV, hepatitis. You're talking about unwanted pregnancies, forced abortion. You're talking about maternal health complications and lifelong trauma. And it's just sad. But we're not here to just talk the gloom and the doom. They say 2.3 million deaths every year are attributed to those infections. And also, infections cause about 1.2 million cases of cancer every year. Guys, that's the entire population of the French-speaking part of Switzerland put together. So how can we fix this? How can we make sex better and in turn make our relationships better? Because we need to be healthier, because society has to live, because these vices are the issues that we come back to. People like you and I in a place like Geneva, we get all these requests. We're inundated by requests of support this movement, or there's this girl orphanage, or there's this problem. These are all consequences. So when we get involved, we're all being involved at the cure end of the situation, when we could really be involved in prevention. I wish to posit tonight that one of the skills we could use to fix this, just one, is actually a boardroom skill, negotiation. Yeah, I said it. Let's take boardroom skills to the bedroom. I'm not suggesting, guys, that we start having, paper and microphones and set up meetings, round tables with your partner. But I am suggesting that we begin to talk. So I've been studying negotiation in the last year, and I think there's about 3 principles we could use that are helpful for all of us. The first principle is that we must come to the negotiating table with clean hands. Open hands. That means we must be vulnerable. Be willing to say it all. Put it all out there. Try to not hold something behind. This is not a good sign. This means I don't trust you. This means I want to have sex now with you, but I don't like what you did maybe last week, and I'm not willing to risk it. But being open and coming with clean hands means, okay, let's forget what happened last night or what happened 2 weeks ago, and let's do it, baby. Let's do it. So come with clean hands, and this will help because it builds trust. Trust is important. Guys, go out there, Google it. You'll find that a lot of authors are saying trust is something that is very difficult to build. It takes a lifetime, but you can lose it in a second. You can lose it by not revealing the other affairs that you have, even though you may have a right to them. But did you disclose? First principle. The second principle I want us to look at is that of finding the ZOPA. What's this ZOPA? Okay? It's a bit of a technical jargon, but bear with me. It stands for the zone of possible agreement. What agreement? Are we signing treaties in the bedroom? I mean, finding common ground. Because in a relationship, we assume these are two different people, two personalities. You grew up in a different way, different homes, different parent journeys. So perhaps, like other speakers have said, you have a different understanding of what sex and a sexual relationship means. So for the purpose of our discussion here and finding the ZOPA, let's remind ourselves that our context is really looking at the healthy, adult, consensual, sexual relationship. So we're not talking here about rape or domestic violence or intimate, partner. Forget all that. So we're really talking about you're two people, two different interests, two divergent views. You're saying we've been together maybe 3 months, 6 months. In your head, you're thinking, should be about the time we start going to oral sex. But have you said it? Because they're thinking, this guy, been kissing him, deep kissing him. At what point does he want to start penetration now? I'm not going to give him more time. Let's get on with it. But when is he going to ask? Two divergent views. So think of finding the ZOPA as the two of you holding hands. Instead of just thinking it in your head, you begin to have that conversation. It's like the two of you hold hands and walk into a supermarket. So you're shopping. So one of you is pushing the cart, and you start picking things off the aisle. You say, I like ice cream. Let's take ice cream. They say, we have guests on Saturday. Let's buy steak. You put them in the cart. So finding the ZOPA is just putting the items in the cart, as in, what's the desire? At this point, guys, we're not yet checking out. So you've not paid. You're just putting it in. You may be discussing, no, don't take steak. No, they don't eat fish. Let's put in fish. You're finding common ground, okay? And once you do that, you'll find, instead of just one person in your head, guess what's happening? A transaction. You are talking. You're saying your do's and your don'ts, your likes and your don't likes, your I'm taking it back, the budget, it doesn't work. A process, which leads to the last point. Because, hey, how much negotiation can we do? Talks get exhausting. At some point, it has to be done, right? So the third principle of negotiation is arrive at a win-win. Come on. You take something home, I take something home. That's what win-win means. But you are there now at the checkout line. What's going home? You obviously can't afford everything in the basket. So then you say, what is the key desire now? So at this point, as a couple, you're really looking at what is possible. What's possible now? Could we just, spoon in bed? Is that okay? Since you're sick or since you have no other interests at this point, talk about it. Hear the other side. Or you may say, perhaps this won't work out now. Let's look at what's probable. So from possible, you look at the next level, which is probable. What's probable? Well, what's the probability that this could happen in the next 6 months to a year? You talk about it. Then you say, well, if you're willing to go exclusive with me, perhaps. So these conversations, instead of just wham, bam, let's do it, and then tomorrow, the consequences. We need to talk about it. And lastly, as you're looking at the two aspects of what should happen, you will also see what is a pipe dream. Because there are those things that he's thinking, and you're like, never, never anal sex in a million years, never. What's he thinking? So those are the three principles. But how do they really work? And are they realistic? And does negotiation even work in this context? There was a study done by McKinsey & Co., a leading business company that many know, and Lean In, a women's rights organization. They looked at the power of negotiation among women in the workplace. They found that actually a lot of women are reluctant to bring up the issue of salary when they're uncomfortable speaking. But the same study found that when they did speak, 54% of the women were able to actually get their salaries raised. So negotiation works. It works because you finally get the other side, to see that there is a position here. And many times we think, but they should already know this. But do they really? So negotiation is about actually empowering you to use that voice, your inner voice. Secondly, I would like us to look at the work of an amazing, remarkable woman known as Dominnique Karetsos. She is a Greek woman, a researcher, and she's a founder and CEO of a company called HPV. It's the Healthy Pleasure Group, HPG, sorry. This group is remarkable because it's the first global sexual health and tech company in the world, okay? And they did a lot of research, and she shows that from the research, they are able to see that women who are able to speak up in the bedroom also have the resultant effect of speaking up in the boardroom. So negotiating, therefore, has the power to make you a better negotiator. It means the more you practice it, the better you get. And if you're a good negotiator in one domain, it may lead to you being a good negotiator in another domain, okay? But boring, enough about the boardroom. Let's get back to the bedroom, right? Let's relax. How do we make it practical? What does it mean for us and our sex lives and our preferences? Whatever you do in your bedroom when it's dark or in the morning, I don't know when you practice sex, how do we make it real? There's so many angles we could look into. But what's very important to know is the first author I mentioned at the beginning, Amia, she also gives another definition, which we take tonight as part of the discussion. She said that sex is a personal preference which is shaped by outside forces. So how many of those outside forces are in our bedrooms, in our sex lives? That's what I ask you. How much of our bedroom rituals are from other people? As we've heard, there's porn. How much of that do we take into what makes us feel good when we say, I had a satisfactory sexual experience last night? Is that us? Or is it them? Is it internal? Or is it an outside force? And are we really powerful? Are we really negotiating the futures we need to have? Or are we just living life and blindly going through the motions? We need, guys, to take time to listen to ourselves, to get to a point of what I would say body positivity and embrace our sexuality, to get to a point where I'll say, me, never in a million years would I do X, Y, Z. And then when a partner comes, stick to it and say, nope, I said to myself, I will never do X, Y, Z. So what I'm getting at, guys, is that there are different goals. What makes sense to you sexually may not matter to me. It may not be something I've ever thought about, but it's important to take time, develop yourself, grow, enrich yourself in this space. Ending on a satisfactory note, arriving at the win-win will really mean having difficult conversations. So I would say use any opportunity you get when you have your partner or partners. I don't know, we all have different preferences here. Next time you're in your partner, let's say at a doctor's office and there are condoms there, go over, check the pile. Are they male or female condoms? Because by the way, did you know there are female condoms out there? And a woman can wear one, according to UNFPA, for 8 hours safely before intercourse, and they will still work. So women, empowerment. But there are others that you may not even have heard of. There are those which are flavored, the condoms. Some are lubricated. We may know these things are there, but what I'm saying is take it home. Put it in your pocket. When you get home, talk to your partner and just say, hey, babe, which flavor? Which one? Which one tonight? And let's have a conversation. Instead of sex becoming just this human, animalistic thing that we do, for many parts of the world, it's something people do when the lights are off, with their eyes closed, like, oh, let it be over with, let it be over with. Really? I am saying negotiation will allow us to do it better, to have it in a more satisfactory way. And it will be difficult to talk to your partner, but just say, hey, honey, so there was this woman at the podium. Can I tell you about her? Just say, there was this woman and she said, and your partner will say, yeah, honey, what did she say? And you'll continue to talk about the things I'm talking about tonight. I promise you, You're going to probably have a blush. You're probably going to have to run away to the bathroom 1 or 2 times. I promise you, it will get uncomfortable. But you know what? It will be worth it. Because prevention is way better than a cure.
Ooh, 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 ooh.